Do I need to know anything? Do you guys need me to pay attention to anything in particular? Or are you just a casual conversation?
Yeah, so picture us at dinner with a bowl of pepper soup.
Okay.
So it's meant to be very conversational.
More fufu. I can't. It's going to be me.
So we're officially live.
Okay, great.
On One Jollof Pepper Soup Talk.
Excellent.
We have our guest with us, Jennifer K. Smith.
Yes.
And Jennifer is a business owner, owns a restaurant, has a long-standing career as a corporate marketer.
Yes.
And she's also a talk show host, and honestly, the list goes on. So, we're excited to talk with you about your journey, and also discuss the event coming up this Wednesday, Olamide.
Yes.
One of the biggest stars out of Nigeria is performing at the SA Event Center.
Absolutely.
And Jennifer is one of the hosts for the show.
That's right.
So, we're excited to get into it and hear what you have to say and learn more about the show coming up.
Oh.
So welcome to Pepper Soup Talk, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thanks, guys, so much. It's my pleasure being here. I love the format you guys have. I love the concept of uniting us.
Yeah.
One Jollof.
But that's what it's about. And we can get started by talking about Fun Times magazine.
Sure.
Because I was talking to my partner Toby here, and I was saying how actually I saw the Fun Times magazine some months back in I think it was in Fresh Grocer.
Okay.
And I remember picking it up. I brought home the magazine to Sekou, other partner here, and it was very provocative cover. I think it was talking about Nigerians and Trump.
Yikes. Yikes.
But to be honest, I mean,
my folks see you guys.
But to be honest, it made me purchase the magazine.
Yeah, it's enough to tempt you, right? It's enough to make you go, oh my gosh.
It doesn't make me purchase the magazine.
Yeah.
And I love the diaspora theme. So can we start with that?
Yeah. So Fun Times magazine has been around a lot longer than I've been the event host for it. My background, my undergrad actually from Temple is in broadcast journalism.
Okay.
So, radio, TV, and things of that nature has always been my sweet spot. It's always been a place where I love. Fun Times approached me a while ago to be an event host when we were all still live and in crowds and in each other's faces before the shutdown. And we had some pretty phenomenal events that I would basically, bring the speakers in, talk to the guests, talk to the audience, make everybody feel engaged and warm. We did the Return to Africa event where everybody was going back to Ghana. Remember? So that was pretty awesome because I got to actually meet a king from Ghana, which was like nothing I would have ever expected, anticipated. But I had really fallen in love with the Fun Times concept, theme, and mission, where they were really trying to focus on uniting us under the diaspora, bringing to light things like our businesses, our foods, the differences, and highlighting them and showing that we're still united and that the concepts that matter in one location should matter to us all, So we did NSARS and we all focused on that. We talked about local black businesses that got rioted in Philadelphia and we all talked about that, and I'm talking about we would go live and we would have, Nigeria, Angola, Kenya, Jamaica, we were all on the same live talking it through, and we try to have our leaders and our speakers be from these different locations and really engage. So it's kind of cool because we've had artists in, and one would be from Jamaica, and one would be like a kid from West Philly, and and just seeing that dialogue is so funky because just to hear us all talk to each other and see how we have these amazing, incredible differences, but we all still are really very much the same. So with Fun Times, I've really tried to specialize in being that warm, friendly face that says, hey, we're all working together, talk to me. We can talk about everything from health to politics, to families. And, I love it. It's actually a pretty cool space to be in. And it's great vibes with people that I meet. And I get to meet some incredible people, honestly. So, it kind of brings me back to that place where I started.
It's interesting because we've been doing this podcast for a little over a year, and we started it in the heart of the pandemic.
Okay.
And during that time, too, we also know that it was the death of George Floyd. And then you mentioned the NSARS just now. And something we've spoken about is how we strongly believe that sort of what was happening around NSARS was very directly connected to a lot of what we're seeing here and the movement that we're seeing here.
Absolutely.
And so, I think it's a great point that you bring that up. It's all connected.
A lot of times people don't realize that, and it's funny. I remember years ago, because I danced different dances, and years ago when I was just getting into African dance, and I actually met a young lady that came from Angola here. She was visiting friends here, and we were talking, and she was quiet at first, and then as we talked, I was telling her about the Philly experience, telling her a little bit about me. She took a pause, and she was like, her face got kind of sober, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And she was like, I feel terrible because everything we've been told about Black Americans has been so different than what you're saying right now. She was like, I feel like we've been blinded. She said, I feel like we've been lied to. We were told you guys were lazy. We were told you guys don't want to promote yourselves. We were told you guys don't try to work. That you guys aren't looking to do better, that you just want a war. She was like, and here you are, a person that's exuding something completely opposite from everything we've been told and we've seen on television. And she was like, I just feel like my people need to know that we're like a lot more like than we realize. It's a serious thing, when you realize that there's a whole lie being told back home, and that it's kind of our job to really reach out to each other and say, listen, don't believe the hype, we're better than what they say, and we're more alike and we can work together. So
I think that's what's so important about these kind of conversations, because a lot of the tension that we see comes from the lack of knowledge really around differences. So and it's on both sides too.
Absolutely.
American, African, and other parts of the diaspora as well. And I know that with your restaurant, with your involvement in Essay Lounge, you talk about being very immersed in this Afro-Caribbean culture.
Yes.
Can you talk about because we know that you're African American. Can you talk about your upbringing?
Sure.
And what has brought you into this, world entrenched in?
I know, right? What has brought me there?
Black culture, really.
It's funny, I'm the daughter of a teacher. Okay, so my mother has always opened my mind to just knowing that it's not as small as sometimes you believe. A lot of times, one thing that I found growing up is that people's worldview was really small and tight, It's not their fault oftentimes. A lot of times people are stuck either in the hood or in certain kinds of elements because they're not told you could go further. I remember the moment that I heard someone talk about visiting other countries, and I was like, I think I'll do that. It's a little thing, but to a child sometimes, or to a teenager, sometimes going to another country, and it's funny because people from countries in Africa don't have that kind of thought where they're like, oh no, I could never fly. People here though, a lot of times Black Americans, they are very much under the perception of, oh, I could never. I could go across town on the bus, but could I fly? To Nigeria, could I? So the concept kind of engaged me really fast. It was like, okay, there's no reason I can't travel. There's no reason, and I'm going to do it. And so I remember my first trip, I think, out of the country was to Bermuda. Just on a whim, a thing from college, and I was like, I'm going. And it was phenomenal. And I think from that point on, I was like, there's other worlds out here, there's other people out here. We have to find out more about it. Knowing that. My mother was a person that, now she's extremely shy, she's extremely conservative. We're actually very much polar opposites. But she also always told me about how she had dreams of visiting Paris. She became a linguist. She learned like 6-7 languages because that was her dream. She was going to become this interpreter. Well, she ended up becoming a teacher. But during the summers, my brother and I would be told, when all the other kids were outside playing, we'd be inside learning French or inside learning Spanish. Because her concept was, there's no reason to stop learning year round, So I think by the time I became a young adult, and now I'm in college, now I'm meeting people, because Temple's a melting pot. I'm meeting people from other countries, and I'm like, ooh, this is everything. Like, I love this. And then I get to Drexel University, where it's a whole other level, and I'm now working in corporate. Something in me, I think, just clicked where I was like, who are my people? And are we, first of all, you talked a little bit about it. You said, some people had this perception, and as Black Americans, African Americans, when they were children, about Africans.
Right.
Now, thank God, I grew up in a household where we never really just ascribed to that kind of thing. You know what I mean? My mother was, my parents were educated. My parents were not of the belief that we diss other cultures. Yeah. So I didn't hear that. But then I would hear in the background other people say, really demeaning things about Africans. And I was like, where does that come from? Yeah. Why would we, first of all, if they're here, they probably speak more languages than we do. So honestly, they're a step above, So, I'm like, I never understood why we didn't grasp that appreciation for people that come here from other countries, recognizing that they're being extremely brave, that they're doing something that will we even be strong enough to do, to go to another country and immerse ourselves, maybe not knowing the language as well. And yet they're coming with so much knowledge if you take the time to sit and learn. Yeah. So I think about the time that I got introduced to, and I'll tell you, it didn't start with SA, it actually started with dancing, because I learned how to dance Latin dances at first, salsa, bachata, and stuff, and I was like spinning it everywhere. And then I went to like this conference, and there was this room off to the side where they were learning this thing that was kind of hitting the US called Kizomba. And I was like, what's that? My girlfriend and I peeked in there, we were like, oh, okay, and we're like sweating from salsa, and we were like, let's go check it out. And they're playing Afrobeats. And they're playing some music that I had not heard, but that like instantly grabbed me, So I went in there, and the teacher was in there. He's like, hey, come dance. I was like, I don't know at all what you're doing. I'm not all we're doing here. He's like, no, it's easy. It's easy. It's easy. So, a little bit of background and dance. So I was like, yeah, I'll try to catch on, just be a light follow. And I was hooked. You know what I mean? Just the connection, the vibe, the energy, and the music. You could like close your eyes and just vibe to the music. And I think from that point, I was like, I'm in. Like, count me in. What are we talking about? And it was just like a whole new world. And they became my dance family. These people from these other countries, Angola, Kenya, heavily, we just danced all the time, and I learned the music. And now at the time, I don't know who I'm dancing to. I don't know its flavor. I don't know its WizKid. I don't know it all. I just know I'm like, oh, that's my song. I don't know who these people are, but I love the music. Wow. So I'm dancing for years in this culture, and I start hosting dances with these cultures, in it, and they're coming out from, different states, flying in for my little conferences and things of that. And I'm like, I think I need to start learning some of these more. I need to learn who the heck I'm inviting.
You were holding dance conferences?
I was holding dance conferences.
Can you tell us more about?
Absolutely. So, like I said, I have an obsession with dance. It's always my escape place. When you work hard, I think you should have a place to play hard. Okay, that's just my whole concept with that. And I guess my personality is just one that I'm like, everyone's welcome, come in, I'm like Big Mama, like everybody come, So, I think that just because of the vibe and energy I put out, where nobody felt afraid, like even if it's a new person that came, especially with a lot of the guys, because, a lot of times with Black men that are, especially African American men, I don't know how African men feel, but African American men, they have all this swag, like, I'm not dancing, man, I'm too, so they I'm not getting out there, So, you have these people that get invited and they're new, and they'll be like, and so I would see like wallflowers, they'd be like, come dance, the girls won't reject you, So I would invite them, to come. It's a safe place. And I think just that vibe kind of the word got around, and people were like, Jen's dances are actually really lit because everybody's kind of friendly. So we just all came together. I mean, I learned compa, so I started dancing Haitian dances, and we just would vibe all night long. And I finally held a weekender, actually at SA. My first weekender was held there. And it was incredible. I flew in Black Cherry, who is a major Kizomba dancer from Paris. Wow. And we just had people come from all over, DJs from everywhere, and we danced nonstop. Now, I am a person that loves sleep. So these folks were up dancing all night long. I was like, I can't stay up with you. So, they stayed up. They did their thing, because one thing I did find in African culture, they like to party all night long, all in wee hours of the morning. I was like, I want to sleep. But I'm telling you, we had the best time. And then we would get up the next morning, and we would have, and so we're at SA, where you can have amazing food, like the jollof rice, egusi soup and fufu, and you can have, obwa soup and, obono and a vegetable soup. So, it was, listen, and wait a minute, you guys have to understand, they had to teach me this kind of stuff, And I was like, what is that? And they're like, oh, that's snail, Jen. I'm like, reading snail, it was amazing. So, it was great because you have these people from the different cultures who are also trying some food for the first time, and other people who are Nigerian, they're like, this is my food, So it was kind of cool because it was just a big immersion of cultures coming together, vibing together, trying out different things, and we just had a great time. And so that, I did that probably up through maybe the year before I got married, I think, and so I've not done it in the last couple of years, but there's little buzzes that maybe we'll restart something, bring it back.
I see Toby's gears spinning.
Come dance.
I mean, you look like you had the full cultural experience.
Yeah.
People just know jollof rice. Now you're talking to some like real ethnic stuff.
Yes.
So with that being said, or with the experience of the people that surround you, how was that unlayering go? How was it an easy transition, or did they help you move easier to learning all these different cultures?
I will say, the one thing that's amazing is that I think it was really a gift coming in it through dance, where everybody's kind of connected through music, right? Because music brings us all together, let's be honest. That really is kind of the ultimate connector. So it's through music. So even if you weren't maybe gonna speak to someone or felt a little hesitation, this song comes on, you both are like, yes, let's dance. And you could dance and not have met that person. So it's very much a thing where somebody will just come to you and hold their hand out. That makes it a much easier. The end of the night when everybody's all sweaty, like, ooh, that was a great night. You're kind of talking now. Because you're like, oh, your dance was so good, or you were so smooth, you were such a light follow. You're definitely much more willing to open up a conversation. By the time I got to SA, I found that I was already very comfortable meeting new cultures, talking to people from different cultures, and I was also very comfortable with new experiences. So SA was probably, now even though I had seen and tried on different kind of African attire before, SA was the first person. I actually ended up hosting the Mercy Shinwo concert as a gospel artist, gospel Nigerian artist. She came into Philly and they asked me to host it. But the ladies told me, oh, Jenny, you don't wear your dress. You have to get an African dress. And I was like, uh-oh, okay. So, I was like, how's it supposed to fit? So they're on the racks pulling stuff out for me. It was an amazing experience. And I did find that the culture welcomed me in with no problem. You know what I mean? They were just super sweet. I actually helped redesign the menus at SA and, trying to just organize it so that it's kind of palatable. Because one thing at SA we're also trying to do is to bring in both cultures there. So I told them, well, we have to have really organized, things so that everybody can kind of even see descriptions. Like, you want them to try this, but they have no idea what's really in it, what this is really about. Like suya, I love me some suya, But you have to explain to me a little bit about what it is, because I don't really know what that word means. So, we put little descriptions and things. And I found that they were very open to show me how to say words, even with fun times when I have to read a guest that's coming from another country, and I'm like, time out before we start. Let's go through a word. I mean, more than once I've been like, I don't, say it again. Say it again? Okay. Say it again, It's a thing, but they're very patient, super sweet about it. And I've loved learning it, you know what I mean? I've loved being open to it. I've loved hearing, the different cultures. I remember when we were first dancing Kizomba, and what I found was the guys that were like beasts at it, they would dance together. And from us, from an African American perspective, we're like, but I'm the woman, don't you want me to? And they'd be like, oh, we're the experts. We're going to show you how to do this footwork, And I mean, they were killing it. And so that became a norm. And you just realize that, Semba has a whole history, that's really built out of telling their story, talking about war, talking about joy, talking about death. It's that music has a storyline. So their intentionality is in the movement. And, I just found that in all these cultures, there's sometimes more than meets the eye behind what you're seeing, what you're eating. Even when they showed me how to eat fufu, I was like, okay, so it's like mashed potato. They were like, Janet, it's not like mashed potato. I was like, it looks like mashed, But they were like, and I was like, okay, can I have a fork? And they were like, you're not using a fork. I was like, okay, So they showed me, you use the water, and clean, get the fufu, and and I was like, I'm gonna touch all this food, I had to throw out all of my African American. Mama said, don't touch your food, I was like, put it out. You can touch the food, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I was like, this is delicious. And the first time time my kids had it, they tore that stuff up. You know, they were like, we're all in. If we did more of that, you know, if we did more of the introductions to people when they're young, you know, to really opening your mind up to different cultures and to seeing the beauty in it and to being open to it and seeing and acknowledging the differences, because that's a good thing sometimes. Yeah. You know, I just found it was something that I loved, and they definitely made the transition beautiful for me. So, yeah.
That really goes to show the power of food and music.
Yes.
It will bring people together.
Yes.
Just introducing them to culture, and yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah. That's what we're hoping happens. So the SA Event Center is like the next evolution. So we had the 3-day weekender, you know, that I've had there. SA, if anybody's ever been to SA, it's a 2-floor event location. So you have a stage on both floors, you have bars on both floors, you have a light-up dance floor. So it's like, I mean, you can come in there, and we have the lounges open. It is just a good time and a good vibe whenever you come. I was able to work actually with Marlene to redesign the whole place. Okay. So it's beautiful walls and, you know, just great energy there. Now we have the SA Event Center, which is a couple doors down at 40 Garrett Road.
So the SA Event Center is separate from the
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you're gonna have to unpack that first.
Okay. So there was a vision that we could have the next level of a space where we could hold major concerts, right? And this is the county. This is Delaware County. This is you know, just outside of Philadelphia.
It's Upper Darby.
Upper Darby.
Okay.
So, you know, Philadelphia has a lot of spaces, but also it's not. Like sometimes it's really hard to find a good venue, one that's not monopolized, you know, one that's not super hard to get into. This is for us, you know. So, I mean, you think about that. It's like, wait a minute, where do we have a spot that's like literally for us? Yeah. So we can hold our major weddings and receptions and concerts in here, and we have hit the ground running. It is a gorgeous venue. Now we're talking, you know, marble white floors and, you know, high-end everything when you come in here. We're going to the next level. We're dressing every time we go in here, you know, and it's beautiful. Yeah. So when we're trying to hold, you know, artists like this Wednesday, Olamide, listen, we're going to the next level with it. We're doing VIP tables and bottles, and, you know, it's just a classy, gorgeous location to have a really special concert. And we've had Flavor there, you know, we've had Casey there. You know, the energy's great. The energy's great.
Listen, boy, first of all, thank you for everyone who's tuned in with us right now. We've got Jennifer Smith on us on Pepper Soup Talk. You've heard it from her. You have to be at this concert on Wednesday. You have to. It's coming to the SA Event
Center. You got it. You got it. Absolutely.
They've redone the whole place.
Oh.
And so, you know, where can people get tickets?
So we're gonna go on DukeConcept.com, which is the one site you can get it. I think you can also now get the tickets actually on SACafePA.com.
Okay.
When all else fails, you can go to my page also. We're putting the links everywhere. But you can really hit up Duke Concept. You'll see the Eventbrite link there. Super easy to get. I do encourage people, if you're trying to get a VIP table, if you're trying to celebrate your birthday there, you know, party up in the front, hit us up quickly. The tables, you know, listen, we make them special. They're sectioned off. They're gorgeous locations. They're up close and personal with the artists. Okay. Great views. Because, you know, if you've been to African parties, they like to stand up. But people learned that the hard way. At one of our concerts, they were trying to sit. It was so funny. They were trying to sit down, and people just stood right in front. I was like, this is the vibe. Like, they're up for the rest of the concert. So, you know, definitely book your spaces. I definitely tell everybody, get your concert tickets early, get your VIP tables early, and, you know, just get ready to have a good time.
When did the event center open up?
So we opened up, oh my goodness, I think we opened up just earlier this year, like very at the top of the year. I think we finally had our first concert. You know, it's not easy. First of all, opening during a pandemic is crazy, as you guys know. You know, it's licenses and everything that would have normally been even a little tricky is like 3 times trickier now. Yeah. So, you know, when we were designing it and laying it out and getting the whole look and feel of the place, that was easy enough because it was pre-pandemic. Yeah. But we had to pause, you know, during the pandemic, and then we were able to wrap up some things after everything opened back up, and you can get contractors and all that kind of stuff to finish, and, you know, approvals and permits, and then the green light came, thank goodness, and we were like, go, you know. And, you know, it's funny because, you know, even during this pandemic, you know, a lot of black businesses, a lot of black leaders had to find another way.
Yeah.
We had to redesign and rediscover ourselves. We had to find new ways to work out what business is. Even for some people that were working 9 to 5s, they were like, hang on, let me rethink my whole life, because it made you, like it forced you.
Yeah, we're hearing about this great resignation going on right
goodness.
now, and the world is changing, and people are thinking differently.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. And it was scary at first. I think I've heard this 100 times from different, you know, people of every level. So it's not even like just your working, but every level rethought their life. You know, they were like, hold on, life is short. If it was a cliche before, we all know it for sure now, you know, and it was just a chance to say, if ever I was too afraid to step out before, I'm going to step out now. And I think that that's kind of a gift that God gave us in the middle of the pandemic. I think that he really gave people a chance to say, you know, I understand fear might have gripped you before. You were like, I have time. You know, you might have said that before, like, I have time. I'll wait till later. Everybody's like, there is no time. Nothing is promised. There is no time, you know. And I think that's kind of cool, because I think for a lot of us, you know, including myself, like I've always been in corporate, you know, I've been a girl comfortable behind the desk, you know, comfortable in my little office. And, you know, taking that step out to do a restaurant was crazy. You know, that was a crazy thing to do. We opened up during the pandemic.
Oh, wow. So the restaurant is also very, very new.
Very new. And it was a leap of faith. It was definitely a crazy thing to do. We're in the middle of West Philadelphia's Lancaster Corridor, Imperial Caribbean and Seafood, 42nd and Lancaster, and it was wild because I did not have a restaurant background. I have an eating background. I like to eat the food. Let's be very clear, you know. But it was an amazing opportunity, perfect location. My husband and our partner built this beautiful outside oasis where it's cabana, so you know they have a Miami feel in the background, and so it's just really beautiful, you know, hand painted artwork. And we were like, will the people come? Well, they showed up in droves and really supported us right from the onset. We ended up winning the Best Newcomer 2020 restaurant, and we won Best Casual Restaurant this year, 2021. It, like, to even experience that while you're in the middle of some major bumps in the road, you know, like, I mean, let's be honest, we crashed and burned on some things right away. Like, I remember one night we had this like huge crowd in there, and they were like, we've put in 4 orders for crabs, we're out of crabs. I was like, you're not supposed to run out, you know. So I'm flying out to stores and trying to buy snow crabs. You know, like we've had so many, and the thing is, the customers are so gracious. Our people, you know, one thing I would say about black businesses and giving black businesses opportunity is to not be afraid to patronize your own people, to not be afraid to give them a shot and to give them feedback. I have been more grateful for the feedback that we've gotten in the middle of all this, because they didn't have to do that. They could have just run to Google and said, you suck, you know, but they took the time and said, listen, if you guys would just like add a little more rice, you know, it would feel like a heavier plate and we'd be good. Simple. Yes, I will. And your next order is on me because you gave me feedback. I always make sure my customers get a top-notch experience. So from my marketing background, I'm able to kind of offer really high-end customer experiences, and that's something that I'm very much into there. And listening to feedback, so they know no matter what the feedback is, they can always get to me. They will get the feedback to me. And it has saved us, because it's made us change things. We've made slightest things. They're like, oh, it's perfect now. That's all you have to do. And I think for a lot of black businesses, we have to really get in the habit of letting our egos go, putting down the pride, putting down the, oh, you're not going to tell me how, let that mess go. Because the reality is, if we were in a corporation, a white corporation, and one of your customers came with great feedback, you would sure take it. You know why? Because you know that with a few bad Better Business Bureau reviews, you're going down. Okay?
The African restaurants need the same reviews. I mean, the same, you know, change of mindset, because you can't go up to, you know, someone's mama in an African restaurant and they'll take it lightly, you know?
There it is.
That's something else.
There it is. It's hard. It's not, you know, it's not easy to tell someone. That's one thing we learned at SA too. You can't take an hour and a half on their food. You can't do that. You know? You can't do, oh, well, we're gonna, you know, I was like, you can't do it. You know, not when you have like this African American crowd of 10 sitting here, they're not going to understand. You know what I mean? They're not going to understand. Or if we bring in some diverse populations, because hey, the food is great here, come eat dinner with us, and they're completely open to it. You don't want to lose those populations because your ego is like, you're going to do this my way. You have to like really be open to change, to hearing the feedback, to welcoming little things. It doesn't have to change your base, it doesn't have to change your culture, but little things that can make us all kind of work more in tandem. You know, bring the synergy that makes everybody say, that's a great place to go. It's always clean. There's always paper towels in the bathroom. You know, it's silly, but it's things like that that let me be able to invite my friends that are lawyers and doctors, because I know their experience won't be something that makes them uncomfortable, you know, and yet they're getting the culture, you know, and they can have a respect for us. There's no reason they should lose respect for us, you know. So
that customer service is key.
So I was just going to bring it back. You know, early in the conversation, we talked about uniting people under the diaspora. And just, you know, with your experience and everything you've seen, what do you think is the importance of bringing that unity across the globe? And also, is there any similarities you see talking to so many people from around the country or around the world?
Yeah, it's funny. You know, I think a lot of times people with certain personalities have to realize that your personality or your gift or your characteristics aren't just for you, right? Or for your little circle. Sometimes we're given these little gifts or these little things that we have so that we can share with other people, or so that we can be bigger than ourselves, right? Or share bigger than ourselves. One thing I have come to enjoy, one thing I have come to appreciate is understanding that sometimes the misunderstandings that have lasted so long have been because a conversation has been held. I remember, now this is a really funny one. It's funny, but it's not. So if you guys remember when Black Panther came out a few years ago, right? We went crazy, right? Everybody went crazy. Like America, the Black Americans, every level, right, of us, we're excited. We're on the screen. We're the feature. We're the hero, right? We're the first character. What? So the dressing up thing, right? So for the first time, a lot of African Americans bought their first, their first true African attire. They were coming fully tilted, okay, to the movie theater, like, watch out, Wakanda, here I come, right? Now, for a lot of them, this was the first time a child has seen some of this attire, and they're in mommy's closet. Mommy got them a matching outfit, okay? They had no idea that those patterns might mean something, right? If you go, like when I was in Paris, I went to Little Africa, and I did a tour to find out about the fabrics and learn about it, you know? Some of these colors and things, you're not supposed to wear that. Actually, you went to a funeral, you're not supposed to wear that. That's for a wedding. But you know what? For the African American experience, it was their first time. And no, they didn't have a chance to go and get fully educated, but yes, they did have a chance to express their African pride for the first time, right? Full out. Some of them wore headdresses. I mean, people really went all out, and that was a moment. However, what I found from being immersed in the community with the Kizomba community was that some of the African community kind of mocked that. Now, this was a chance for a conversation. A lot of African Americans were getting offended. Oh, you know, we can't ever, listen, I said, time out. So what it gave me a chance to do, being in that position, was to say, let's have a conversation. Let's not all get riled up, because there's a reason for everybody's feeling the way they feel, right? So let's just all take ourselves down for a second. You know, express what you're seeing and what it makes you feel like. Okay, from the American side, they were like, well, this is our chance to be proud. We've never been able to see ourselves on the screen. Look at this. We've never even seen these patterns. We're going to go buy it for the first time and try it out, and it feels good to look like this. Okay. From the African perspective, what happened when you saw the Americans dressing up like this? Oh, it feels like it's almost appropriation. That was shocking, right? We're like, how can it be appropriation? We're from Africa. Well, that takes it back to a much deeper root, right? That root's much deeper.
Now we're getting into the
We're getting to what this is really about. This isn't really about the clothes. This is about that maybe we really don't feel like we're from the same place, really, right? So, you know, can you solve it all in one conversation? No. But maybe if you come together and maybe even expose your own biases, you know, which we all have, you know, you have to acknowledge that, like, I have my own biases. But if I put them on the table for others to be able to say, hey, I'm willing to talk this out with you, maybe you can help me change it, or maybe you'll understand where I'm coming from. We're not always going to agree, but we can maybe always be amicable and agree to disagree and respect each other, right? So I think that that's one thing that I learned, is that we all have biases, but a lot of times they're coming from the same place of wanting to belong. You know, a lot at that moment, I found a lot of my African American friends were like, listen, we have had such a longing to belong somewhere that we can't even express to you all, that we can't tell you where we come from. We can only say Philly. We can say we come from Philly, but I can't tell you anything beyond that. You know, my grandma was from down south. I don't know anything more than that. My name was cut off. You know, and so expressing that hurt to some of their African friends, let them see that, listen, I'm not doing this to appropriate. I'm doing this because it finally felt like I was attached to somewhere, you know, a fake country that maybe meant nothing or was something to mock, but for us, it was like, maybe for once I'll be welcome somewhere, you know, for once I can say I came from somewhere good and powerful and not from the hood, you know, or not from a welfare family that's all I'm known for. It's important to recognize that if we start offering that kind of unity, offering that, you know, that open door that says, listen, welcome in. I remember the first time one of my friends from Nigeria said, oh, you're Nigerian now, Jenny. You're one of my, you know, and I said, hey, you know, it's actually very warm and welcoming to hear somebody say, you may not know, you know, where you come from. You may not have a land to come back to and call home, but we'll take you, you know, we'll take you. You know, for the African American experience, that's actually quite deep. You know, it actually hits a really serious place. And I think then if, you know, our African friends take the moment to say, now let me show you what not to do, you know, or let me show you what's really important and sensitive here, and and us being open to learn, you know, and to understand that a lot of Africans had history where African Americans treated them really wrong as children, especially ones that came here as immigrants. A lot of them had really bad experiences, more so years ago, but where they were called all kind of names and isolated, you know, and treated really poorly by African Americans, and so it left a poor taste in their mouth. You gotta respect it on both sides. You gotta honor that and say, you know what, you're not wrong. You know what I mean? That was your experience. That left a dent in your childhood from some kid, you know, or some bullies, you know, that maybe makes it hard to connect now.
No, definitely. You know, there's definitely a lot of hurt and trauma on both sides, and you know, you're bringing up a lot of good points, and I'm really glad that we're having this conversation. Because, you know, you talk about how it's actually very simple, right? Like, have a conversation or open communication. Like these things that a lot of times don't happen. If they did happen more often, you know, things would be different, and hopefully things will become more and more different over time. Even when you talk about kids and what kids are exposed to and what they see and what they learn at a young age, like all of that makes a difference. And I think that's also what makes it so powerful with the repatriation that we're seeing, and you know, the year of return. Ghana and other countries are now even starting to, you know, draw from that. It makes possibilities of what the future will look like. It's very exciting.
Absolutely. That's one thing that I know we're looking to do. We had heard that you can get land there, right? And they were like, even if you don't live there, they will still hold the land. I was like, okay. And one thing we didn't learn during that pandemic is that you better get some land. You know, it's such an opportunity for a lot of African Americans to be able to say, oh, can I go somewhere that will let me claim space? You know what I mean? Claim space, claim land, and really, you know, in my opinion, not just do it for greed's sake, you know, for taking, but as an opportunity to connect and learn, and to give back, you know, and to say, okay, you know, if I was able to gain while I was in this position, can I now give, you know, and what does giving look like, you know, because we've got wrong media. All we, you know, saw on TV was jungles and people in rags. Like, you know, why is that what they told us? Everything's a dirt road. Have they seen some of the, like, some of these places are bad, like, I mean, a gorgeous to go island, like gorgeous places to go in Africa. Were we shown any of that? And so it made it hard for a lot of African Americans to want to go. Because all you heard was, oh, it's going to be dirt. They don't wash their hands. You know, it's not clean. You're not going to get a real bathroom. Child, what? That is not factual. You know?
I think if we're being honest, a lot of that imagery and a lot of what people saw growing up, it was intentional. But what you saw in media, especially major media, like you typically when you think about Africa, you're thinking about, you know, $1 a day.
Yes.
You 300 kids.
Exactly.
And that was the imagery you saw, but then now you're seeing with just more types of media coming out and a lot of different, the travel and
social media.
Yeah.
Social media in general. You're starting to, the narrative is being reshaped.
Absolutely.
It's changing what people can imagine, people see. And it's, a lot is coming.
Listen, it's necessary. It's so necessary. It's when you think about it, it's almost like a retraining. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a reintroduction to the truth.
Yeah.
I follow more. Think about that. Like we were lied to for so long and told so many that really hindered us from saying, when I look through the map of where I'm going to travel next year, never was Africa on the list. Why would that be? Why would that be? By the time I got done learning Kizomba dance, I was like, gotta get to Angola, I was like itching to get there. And they were telling me stories coming back, the music, the nights, the dancing. I was like, gotta get there. Now I'm itching to get there. And that's that's how it should be.
Yeah.
That should be on our top list of places to go, and things to do. I just think, that's why. And one thing I try to do, even when I do promotion, is to promote these concerts, not just to the Nigerian culture, but to our African Americans. Come out. Come out. They may take a moment where they're not speaking a language you understand, but guess what? When that music hits, it is on. Yes.
So that brings me to the next question. So why do you believe it's important to, create our own space like you did for our people, and also as that process promoting, an African artist in America?
Our own spaces haven't always been, I would say not even necessary, but prioritized. A lot of times, especially if you're a person that got educated, right? So, I have my master's degree from Drexel, quote unquote, elite Ivy League school, right? So what they tell you is your goal is to get into the Four Seasons, right? Your goal is to have your place. This is the best. This is where you want to have your events. Definitely go there. I plan events, I do that. That's where we're told is the best. So it is, and then the second message you get is working with Black businesses is difficult. You're not going to get top quality. It's just not going to work out. So you're not encouraged to have your own space or to believe in your own spaces. You're not encouraged to put your best effort into making a space for us. What does that do? That makes you constantly climb and aspire to something that doesn't belong to us. We're never putting the dollars back in our own pockets. Yeah. Our own communities never get a real shot at getting those Black dollars put right back in our pockets. And that can only happen by changing our mindsets, right? You have to say to yourself, the elite, the best I can do is not that Four Seasons, it's this SA Event Center, because we built it. We built it for us. It's a safe place for us. It's a place where we can put smells of Jollof rice in there, and nobody's going, oh, that's strong. They understand what the culture is. They're expecting it to be a little spicy in the air, and that's a good spice. That's a good thing. They're expecting it to be loud when the music comes through, because that's what we do. We're expected to be able to dance freely and not be a little bit coiffed because that's not appropriate here. Our own spaces give us a chance to really be culturally free and to really put our best dollar there. It's funny, when we had our wedding, all of our friends, our Nigerian friends, were all up in our reception, everything like that. And when they started showering us with that money, I said, well, wait a minute. Now this is, I said, if this isn't the best way to put the Black dollar back in a Black dollar's pocket, listen, why would we not give ourselves a chance to learn and feel all these things and get used to that? Get comfortable saying, oh, we got to have our event somewhere great. Oh, you know where we could go? We have to do more of that. That's super important, and it's something that is a change of mindset. But since the pandemic and since all that PPP money came through, a lot of people had opportunity that really opened up that they never, for our culture, this was the biggest moment to get access to funding that we've ever had. If you could put your ducks in a row, and frankly, a lot of social media was showing you how to start a business and get your LLC in moments. Get this thing going. Don't make any excuses. Look, go start painting somebody's nail and call it a nailery. Do something, because you have an opportunity to have access to money really easily. So open yourself, whatever business you're gonna cut somebody's hair, get to cutting. Get yourself a license and go, because the money is on the table. And we cannot be afraid to go and get that money and then patronize each other. So at this point, there's so many black businesses out here.
Yeah.
Like, it's such an opportunity for a new black Wall Street, you know, and to really put this new black enterprise back in our laps, our strength back in our laps, push travel, you know, push going and contributing to each other's businesses, push the concept of patronizing international businesses. Like, why should we keep it local? Why are we doing this? It's all mindset changes, though. You know, it's all mindset changes. I remember one of the first dresses I ordered from Kenya, this gorgeous gold, I might be wearing it Wednesday, but this gorgeous gold dress. And I remember my girlfriend going, "Oh girl, you sure you're gonna get your dress?" I was like, I'm patronizing this business. This girl's dresses are fantastic. I'm gonna give her my trust and my money and ship it here. It's another shoe designer I love. You guys ever see Himba shoes, Himba shoes? This designer she's a beast, and she designs gorgeous African shoes. Well, guess what? The patterns are amazing, and those shoes are the most comfortable shoes I've ever danced in my life. Okay, I gotta ship them in, but I will pay her euro, dollar, okay, to give her the business, okay, and I'll shout her out. Why are we afraid to shout out our businesses? Why are we not saying, "Oh my gosh, I just had the best food ever from"? Why not? Why are we so scared? Like there's not enough for us to share. There is room for all of us at the table. We got to start really emphasizing the good, because you know what is plenty out there? Us fighting each other. Okay, somebody getting robbed or shot. You got plenty of that. You got tons of that. We got to do a better job of sharing our good news about each other. You know, I don't care if it's something as small as my brother was out there with a good pair of glasses on today. Oh, he was sharp with them shoes. Sharing the good news has to be a mindset change, and it has to be a habit you create, right? So if my children see me pass a black woman and say, "Oh my God, girl, your dress is everything," that's a habit I'm changing in their minds, right? Like, think about it, compliment somebody, give us a piece of encouragement, you know? "Oh, you did such a good job with that. Your teeth are pearly white," you know, it's silly. But if somebody hears good news coming their way, and if we can change our narratives to emphasizing the good things, you know, it becomes a habit. It becomes contagious. Just like they doing with this bad news they share about us. Just like the lies they shared about us, culture to culture, right? So if we change it ourselves, that is what's going to create the new habit. You know, God has blessed us as a people to be so resilient and to last throughout so many crazy phases in this world, that I just believe that we need to take our moment to be of opportunity to be grateful and thankful and say, "I am going to do my part in changing the narrative and encouraging the conversations and then saying something good to someone, you know, do it more, and let my kids learn that and encourage somebody else to do the same thing, you know, and say this black business is everything. Go support, you know, Pepper Soup Talk, okay, by one gentleman. Y'all go support that, okay, on my page. Y'all go support this business, okay, because that's how we do it. We got to talk about it. You know, who's going to talk about it if not us? If not us, who? Right? Absolutely. If not us, who?
It's so important that we change the narrative, that we shift the narrative. It's something that you really doing a good point of getting at is how important it is that we empower our people to know that success for our communities looks different than success for other communities. And what that example of success looks different, so that we can start changing the blueprints and start changing the way we go about reaching our goals. And so when you talk about, let's say, like a Four Seasons versus the SA Lounge, like, or SA Event Center, like that should be the example in people's heads. And also, it'd be important that we create that example so that it's something that people can really say, "Okay, this is what I want to aspire to."
Yes. That's it.
So I just want to echo a lot of things you just said. Just because we're in Philly, and there's a lot of things. There's two sides to Philly. What you see on the news and the good things that's not highlighted.
That's right.
So as we're doing this talk the past year or so, there's a lot of changes we're not aware of, and a lot of people in the community that's, you know, working on startups, creating businesses. It's just not a small section, but it's in different areas, you know, of the city. And I do believe the pandemic kind of accelerated it also. It kind of evened the playing field for, you know, our people to also start being out there. And hopefully in the next 5 years or so, we can able to see that kind of quote unquote Black Wall Street in the
Yes.
city of Philly specifically, just because the amount of connections or the kind of calls we've been having where like there's a move out here but
Yes.
people don't know about it.
Yes.
But don't be surprised if, you know, it looks like Atlanta out here in a couple more years, you know, in terms of prosperity. But
Yeah.
there's definitely moves, you know, and positive things out here for us.
Yeah, it's funny. My husband Tommy, he runs SA Lounge,
Yeah.
and when I met him, like I said, I've always been a person comfortable in my little office, you know, sitting behind my corporate, you know, give me a pretty desk, you know, and wear my little suits every day. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with people working their 9 to 5s. But I remember he really introduced me to the concept of launching out into these businesses, right? Really not being afraid to be an entrepreneur. First of all, I had no desire. I was like, I am good. My money is stable. You know, I'm like, I do not know what you're talking about. But, you know, I love to see, and this is just a shout out for Black men, I love to see our Black men who are not afraid to launch into different things, businesses, trying their own spaces, taking that step. You know, even if you're a little afraid, taking that step. And I just really encourage, you know, our listeners, anybody that's out there, young men, encourage them to try. Encourage them to try and fail. Fail. It's okay, fail. What's wrong? What's going to happen when you fail? You fail and you try it again, you know, try something different. It's so important for our little Black boys to not be afraid of seeing something that they want and going for it, or making an adjustment to it because they thought about it. You know, what if I did it this way? I was so impressed with just seeing him try. We have a printing business where we print apparel. We run the SA Lounge. He does a DJ. We do silent parties. People can put the headphones on and have 3 different DJs. We have, you know, we do a little bit of everything. And I promise, we got the restaurant. When I was like, why do we keep doing this? You know, I was like, this is scary. And you know, just seeing somebody that, like, you know, seeing people, Black men when they're in their vision mode. You know, when Black men are just dreaming, it is a beautiful thing to witness. And you know, ladies, we really need to encourage them to not be afraid to try, because a lot of times I believe they are kings who are meant to really change and shift this world through their visions. You know, now in my position, I'm an executor. You know, that's my role. I will execute any vision. You know, so he dreams it. He is not a planner, but I will plan the heck out of something, you know, and execute it. And you know, tag teaming in that mode a lot of times for our businesses, finding somebody that's a really good partner, somebody that's willing to take your idea and help you craft it and mold it into something and make it make sense, and then bring it to the world and make adjustments. You know, it's nothing wrong with saying, that failed, let's try something different. That's a good thing. You know, that's a good thing. I think we just as a people need to really learn to work together a little better, not be afraid to, you know, to just try our ideas out and empower each other. I see us Black women are already doing that. You know, we're really out in these streets, you know, there's a resurgence that's happened, you know, for Black women, where we've gotten the education and where we've launched into the deep and where we tried things. And I think it's amazing because, you know, there was a time when we were really just so subservient. There was a time, even not too many generations ago, where a lot of Black women were, even if they were working, they felt powerless to take their very brilliant ideas any further than their homes. You know, they did not believe anyone believed in them, because very often Black women are chosen last. You know, their ideas, their thoughts, they're considered to be the bottom of the totem pole. And so I do believe that the confidence that we have to exude comes from realizing that if nobody's going to choose us, we're going to choose ourselves. That has to work in tandem with our Black men, though. I just believe we will level up as a people when we learn that I don't have to push you down to get me up. You know what I mean? I don't have to turn my back and make you feel less than, you know, a king for me to be a queen, you know, and for me to really excel in everything I want to do. And I would just love to see more families behave like that, you know, just to see us really empowering each other to say, you know, here's your idea, let me lift you up, let me be your Aaron to Moses, you know, and lift your arms up, you know, hold you up while you get your vision executed, you know, and just see what happens. See, you know, it's funny, because even if you're like, well, we didn't make $1 million, maybe that's not the success point. Maybe the success point is that when you go home, you both feel so strong about the bond you've created because you feel supported. How well do you sleep when you know somebody has had your back 1,000% and there's peace? Like, are you not like the king of the jungle the next day? You know, like, you can't tell me nothing. You know, somebody's got my back.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that that's more of what our community needs, to see us just lifting each other. You know, you go somewhere and you see, I saw some little teens the other day giving away bags of food. I stopped my car and I was like, y'all are awesome. You know, just to encourage them. I don't know how many people drove by them, but let them know they're doing something great.
Yeah.
You know, give them the encouragement. Don't be afraid to spread your encouragement. It's available for free. What does it cost you? What does it cost you to hype somebody up for a second? It costs you nothing, you know, so.
Listen, Jennifer has taken us to church. And, you know, Jennifer, I want to first of all say thank you for being an agent of change.
Oh.
And also thank you for affirming our black men. Like, this is very powerful, and I'm sure it, you know, for people who are tuning on Pepper Soup Talk, they're taking a lot out of this, not just the information, but just how this is like filling our souls. So, thank you for that.
Oh, amen. That's awesome.
Can you talk a little bit about how this event came together? This concert is coming up on Wednesday.
Oh my gosh, there are some powerful humans in the wings. It's so awesome. Like I said, being in the position I'm in at SA, working under Tommy, you have a team of just really brilliant minds that have come together and really begun to craft these events that you're seeing more and more of at the SA Event Center. You've got Jay Biz, you've got Tommy, you've got Do Concepts, you've got Dr. Lucas, you know, who's huge in Nigeria, you've got Innocent, and they've really just, you know, brought their minds together and really thought of, who does the culture love? You know, who does the culture want to see? Who does Philly need? You know, who have we not had here, you know, that Philly would love to have? And they just believe that the people are going to back them up, you know, and come out and support them. And what's great is that we have a lot of opportunity to not just have a good time, but to show how we do it to the next level. You know, when we have events at the SA Event Center, we don't want you to feel like, you know, oh, they're gonna run out of water. You know, they're gonna, you know, oh, it's not gonna be any toilet paper in the bathroom. You know, like, I mean, it's ridiculous, but at the same time, I've been to so many events where you hear these little, you know, quips, and I'm like, oh, I'm not coming back here. They never had. At the SA Event Center, we make sure that it's leveled up. You know, that we make sure that the experience is great. You know, same kind of concept as everywhere else. We take the feedback. We run with it, but we also make sure that the experience feels like high quality. Like, you know, you leave out really late, you know, but feel like you had a beast of a concert, you know, and I mean, trickling out. It's funny, one of the events I had there before, after the event, people were dancing on the sidewalks after it closed down. You know, I went outside, I actually have video of it, and they're by Wells Fargo Bank down the street, and they're just like, you know, I love that. That's the energy we're trying to bring. You know, Olamide is beloved in the culture. You know, I love to just see when everybody's really in the thick of it, and you know, I might be sometimes in a green room or making sure everything's stopped, and I can look out and there's like a wave of people just standing and rocking. You know, they're like, you know, they're up and they're swinging and they're singing. People on the stage getting it. You know, it's great energy, and you know that I love that, because that's our high-end event, quality event. You know, but doing it our way. You know, and the artists just sing to the people. Everybody's singing in one voice, and it is just like it is our vibe. You know, and it's happening here in our own hometown, you know, which is what we need more of. You know, good hometown events. People can trust, you know, that they're going to be good, that you're going to get your money's worth, and you know that it's a place to come back to get great food. You know, we like to connect and give, you know, great little tastes and, you know, bites to eat. You know, it's just gonna be good. The bar is fully stocked, you know, so they're ready for you, so you can pre-order your bottles and you know, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's gonna be good for the culture. Yeah,
this is very powerful, because the SA Event Center is representing not just Delaware County, Upper Darby, but this whole greater Philadelphia area.
Yes.
And something that has definitely been missing from this area is is what you're talking about. This place where you can have that very high quality, high standard event and concert that is able to represent African culture and other places around the diaspora as well. So to see one of the biggest artists in Africa, Olamide, be here is you know, something that if you tune into this, you don't want to miss this concert.
You can't miss it. You can't. It's a disservice. It's good. And, it's one of the guys I forgot to mention, Zemo, too. One thing I've learned from them, my husband was a DJ, DJ for like Mary J. Blige, Sony. He was a big time international DJ. And it's funny because Zemo's one of the promoters on this event, huge name, huge, in the African culture as a DJ. He now has his own suya restaurant down in Atlanta. Okay, love to see it. And, it's funny because when these guys come together and they start kind of crafting the event, we start thinking it through, they add all of their experiences in. People are going to want to see this. They're going to want to hear this music first. Let's let them vibe. Let's create a party environment where they can just get up and jam. You don't want to make it too tight with the tables. They really put together everything necessary that they can think of. Remember, now you have Tommy, who's the African American, you got Nigerians, and they're coming together to craft these experiences. So this isn't a little, this isn't like, a little thing. The thought that they are merging these cultures, and really saying, what is the best of what I can give our people to make this night special? That to me is really like the way it should be. That's how our people should be thinking. Like, our culture may have this, but maybe this culture's telling us something we didn't even think about. Oh, wow. When we put it all together, we're amazing. And so, when we design things, like when Marlene and I redesigned the Essay Lounge, she and I, like, she's Haitian background, her husband's Nigerian. We just thought of all kind of beautiful island vibes. And we gave leaf, murals in here. We had hand painted this, and we said, well, let's frost this out because that's how we did those things to give the best of the vibes to these places. And that's what happens when our cultures really kind of collide, when we really pull it together. So this Olamide concert is not going to be, just some run-of-the-mill concert. You're really going to get the best that we can offer you guys.
And to have an artist like Olamide, he's an African artist, a Nigerian artist, but he's also a hip-hop artist.
Yes.
And we all know hip-hop started in, some people in Philly might say hip-hop started in Philly.
I was going to say, you got to be careful. This is Philly. We own that.
But, most people would say hip-hop started in the Bronx.
Yeah, I know. We're going to still own it.
And so to see that merge, it's really something that brings it all together.
Absolutely. And that's why I like to say a lot of our African American friends, part of why I'm live on my own page, because, a lot of our African American friends need to know, listen, this is not just, an African concert like you might think. Come out and experience the vibe. Check out something different that you may not have expected. I will tell you, as a lover of music, now I sing, I grew up singing, gospel, I sing jazz, I sing all kind of things, I sing for weddings, everything. One thing I have found, though, is there is nothing like this music. When you hear this come together, I don't care if I don't know the lyrics 70% of the time. I don't know what they're saying. And I've had so many of my friends afterwards, I was like, now what was he saying? And they're like, oh, girl, you do not want to, actually don't repeat that, And it has cracked me up so often when they were like, actually, that was like, really But it's really funny, and it's actually awesome because even if I don't know what they're saying, the vibe is so crazy.
Right.
Like techno.
Right.
What? Oh my, all day long. Like, I will play this. My kids see us in the middle of the floor, and we'll get this beautiful home. Let some techno come up. What? We are out in the middle, and my kids will be sitting there watching like, what in the world? Yes, we will. We'll bop to Luther Vandross in one moment and Wizkid in the next, And isn't that how it should be? Like, shouldn't we really be in a place where we're able to appreciate both? So I want everybody out Wednesday night. And not only that, but y'all can prep your Thanksgiving stuff early. Let's be honest. Okay? If you're a real cook, you know how to prep early, and really be ready to cook the next morning. So that's what I'm doing. I got my game plan ready.
It's the perfect pre-Thanksgiving feast, it sounds like.
Listen, and I hear what you're going to dance. See, okay, so let's be logical. Those of us who are logical, like, okay, listen, let's think this through. If we prep our food, right, Wednesday morning, we dance off all the food we're going to eat Thursday, no guilt Friday. You're welcome. That's a gift. That's a gift. That's how it should go. She
just told you how to not, gain the 5 pounds that you might during Thanksgiving.
I just saved your life. You're gonna lose it Wednesday night dancing, and that way Thursday never even happened.
So Jennifer, where can people find you?
So you guys can find me at Jenny the CEO. That's Jenny the CEO on Instagram, and you guys can follow our restaurant Imperial Caribbean and Seafood on Instagram at Imperial Seafood PA. Same thing for Essay Lounge, Essay Lounge PA. So that's how you guys can find us on Instagram. Please follow us, like us, give me feedback, comments, anything you want. We're great at responding right away. So,
Jenny, thank you for coming on Pepper Soup Talk.
Absolutely.
Is there anything you want to leave the people with before we
just let's work together. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for the invitation, guys. This has been a pleasure. I'm so glad to connect with great men like this, great men that are doing big things. Support them, and let's be sure that we're doing our best for the culture day after day. That's it.
There's one last question.
Yes. Something popped up?
Yeah, we'd like to ask this to our guests.
Okay.
We're closing out, and that is, if you had to talk to your younger self, give your younger self advice. Let's take Jenny at 18 years old.
Ooh.
and you had to talk to her about what you're going through, the ups and downs, how you navigate your life, what you be getting into now. What would you tell that younger person to give her reassurance and to just give her some wisdom?
I would probably say, number one, love yourself at every stage. Don't be afraid of what people say to you, because their responses to you do not dictate your life. Don't be afraid to step out into the deep and embrace all that you are. Every part of your personality is for a purpose, and even if it makes somebody else uncomfortable, it's still what was given to you as a gift. I think that's what I would say, and I think I would just definitely say keep smiling despite everything, because your joy is the one thing no one can snatch from you. So, yeah.
Jane, there's no better way to end than that. Thank you again for coming to Pepper Soup Talk.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much.
I'm gonna be able to say it positive.
He sure was. I love it.
This is on the side.